Hey guys, welcome to the channel. We're talking about how to keep it real behind the wheel, NASCAR 25, and in my case on PS5, although you might have it on another console or PC. I've got notes today. I'm going to be covering a lot of information, and I want to make sure I don't miss anything. So I'm going to be going over a lot of details. You can take notes if you want to, or save this video to your favorites, or of course subscribe to my channel. We'd really appreciate that. I'm going to be going over a lot of things. Hopefully in the end you're going to get a better understanding about how your game works, and you know, hopefully enjoy it more, have more fun, and don't fight it so much. So bear with me. This video is going to cover a lot of stuff, and I've packed a lot of cool things in here and a lot of details, so you're going to want to go all the way through it so you don't miss anything. We're going to be talking about about how to set up your AI baseline, and what is it, why do you need it, how does it help you. So what is an AI baseline and what is it not? Raw AI difficulty, and that's where you set your AI difficulty in your game, whether you're at 99 or 101 or 105 if you're a rock star. The AI difficulty creates what's called what I refer to as hotlapping. It's just chaotic type racing. Realistic racing and truly enjoying your game. It's not about pride. It's not about, hey, I run at 105 or hey, I do 104 consistently. It doesn't matter. It's not a score. It's a tool, and I'm going to teach you how to use it. Okay. Nobody really cares whether your baseline's 98. Whether it's 101 or whether it's 104, nobody really cares, and the AI is not going to mock you. No one really gives a shit. It's your personal number. It's what you use to enjoy your game the best way possible. So before we even talk about setups or anything else, which we're going to be doing on a lot of my videos, there's no way to really enjoy your setups or even tell if it's a good setup for you unless you're racing against AI that has been set according to your talents and your desired skill level, so that you can have a good experience. Okay, whether you're grabbing setups off the internet, it doesn't matter. Whether you're making your own, whether you're using some of mine, it doesn't matter, because you're not going to know how well they work until you get your AI set up to race against you in the best manner possible. Hey, I've heard some guys say, I'm no wimp, I just max out the AI and go for it. To hell with it. I've heard other guys say that, hey, I got really good at 103 and was having a lot of fun at that, but how do I make my setups faster? I want to run 105. And my answer is, why? You got really good at it, you're having fun, it's a good experience. Why do you need to go higher? Maybe 103 is your setting. Maybe that's where where you live and how you race. The point that I'm trying to make is that why fuck it up? Just be happy with where you're at. It's not a contest. It's not a score. As I said earlier, the AI setting is just a tool, and this is the best way to use it for maximum enjoyment if you want realistic racing. And again, nothing I do is about going out there running 5 fastest laps you ever can. Burn your tires off. I've heard other guys talk about, hey, just max out your tire pressures or reduce all your tire pressures and turn this setting up and the shocks this way, whatever, and you'll be faster than anybody. Well, that's not realistic. That's a one-off. Burn it up in 2 or 3 laps and see how good you can go. I mean, anybody can do that. You can put a rocket pack on your ass and fly to the moon and back, but that's not realistic. So nothing I'm talking about is going to have anything to do with any of that. It's all about trying to set it up as realistically as possible and have a good time. So let's talk about the competitive standard that this baseline is going to produce, at least for me. And the really cool thing is that if you do it the way I show you, you're going to be able to set it for what's best for you. But here's what I'm shooting for. I want a top 10 to top 15 car. I want a car that has the ability to run 8th place, 9th place, maybe 12th place, right in there against the AI consistently. Now what this means, because we're all good at some tracks and worse at others, sometimes we suck at this track, but we're an ace at that track. that means that, I'm going to have some top fives. A lot of my races are going to be in that 9th to 14th range. I'm going to have a couple of races where I end up 25th. That happens. That's real life. And if I'm lucky, I'm also going to win a race or two. And I do that with patience. I do it with tire management and strategic pitting and that sort of thing. Okay, but what I want is a car that I can run competitively in that top 8 or 9, 10, maybe top 12 range, top 15 max, just to, depending on how the test comes out. That's what I'm shooting for. So if I run the test at 101 and I'm blowing the AI away, I go from 15th to 2nd in 3 laps, and that's no good. I'm going to set it up a little bit. I'm going to go up to 102, and now if I go from 15th to 12th in a couple of laps and stay there, and then it takes me another 5 laps to gain another position. Well, now we're talking about competitive real-life racing. If I can run an entire stage and move up 5 or 6 positions, not 15 or 20 positions, but 5 or 6, that's competitive racing. And that's me being patient, looking for openings, managing my tires. That's what we're shooting for. So before you get started in this process and start setting it up, here's what you need to know. This process assumes that your setups and your driver comfort is all about an established setup that is what I call moderate to great, meaning it's a setup that you have used, you've practiced it, you feel pretty good about it. Maybe you don't love it, but it's pretty good. Maybe it's great, that's fine. But you want to use setups that are tested, and that's what this test is going to assume, that you've already tested the setup and feel good about it. Okay, so and you got to do that for all 4 series, because we're going to set a baseline for all 4 series, and they may not be the same for each series, but you're going to test all the series so that you know where you stand with each one. Especially because when you're in career mode or championship mode, you go from series to series, and you want to have everything set up the way you want. So the test has got to be balanced, and there's no cheating. There's no reason to cheat the test, because you're only cheating yourself. The only reason you're doing this test or doing this baseline setup is to help you enjoy the game more. So there's no point in cheating or cutting corners, whatever. Just be honest with yourself. If something doesn't feel good, just tell yourself, hey, I'm not good at that. I got to do it better, or I need to change this setting, whatever. You're not embarrassing yourself in front of anybody, because nobody cares. It's just you. So take the time to do what I'm going to show you on this video, and you're going to be well on your way to having some long-term racing fun. Now, you probably heard me mention that you need to do this on quick race or championship mode where you have a full-powered car. Let's talk about why it does not apply to career mode. Okay, then this is important. This is, I don't want you to get disappointed later when you're trying to do what I'm talking about in career mode and it doesn't work. Okay.
Inside now. One more, driver. Let's go.
Here's what you need to know about the AI. AI runs what's called a fixed performance envelope per difficulty, and it's not adaptive. It does not learn as you run it. It executes lap time targets with tolerance bands. The AI does not suffer from human hesitation. The braking points, throttle pickup, line choice are consistent lap to lap unless forced by traffic or script variance. Okay? And again, I made notes here because I want to make sure I explain this exactly right so you don't miss anything. And I don't want to leave anything out and make you go, So the AI is least realistic under pressure when difficulty is too high. Now, what this means is at excessive settings, the AI maintains corner minimum speeds that force the player to overslow their entry or abandon their proper lines. AI pace is strongest on entry and mid-corner, not exit. This is critical. You need to know this because you want to be strongest on exit. Your setup is not about how your corner entry. It's not about how well you roll through the turns. It's about exit speed. You want exit speed that's going to get you the most power, the most speed down the straightaway. Okay?
Pick up some exit speed here.
So, and most players complain that most complaints stem from entry pressure that breaks car balance before throttle even matters, before it has any effect. That's what most guys complain about.
Hard onto the
AI
gas.
interacts with
Here I
dirty
shot
air
back up a couple
differently than the
spots.
players do, different than you and I.
Little
AI treats it differently. At high
Probably gonna get
difficulty,
3 or 4 spots
the
just
AI
fine,
loses
straight.
less stability in traffic than the player does, which exaggerates the handling
Tell by the
problems
sound
that
of
don't
the
exist in
throttle where
dirty air.
I'm letting off and getting
Here's the
back
bottom line.
on.
Here's what all that meant. I know that was a lot of gobbledygook,
So
but
there,
here's what that
one
all
lap,
meant.
I gained 5
If AI
spots.
behavior forces you
Rolling
to
through,
change how you drive the corner,
don't oversteer,
not how you race the
back on
corner,
the gas.
then the difficulty is misaligned. Now, by misaligned,
And
misaligned
again,
AI
probably 3
is
spots.
when
I'm
the
gonna dive a
difficulty
little
forces
low
you to
on this
drive the
one,
car wrong just to
get
stay in
around
the
him.
race. That's not competition. That's the AI operating outside
To
the
hook
player's
inside line
realistic
of that track,
performance
but
envelope.
there you go.
So in other words, when the AI
Okay.
forces you to operate or drive your car in a manner that's
Back of
not
the pack to
normal or not competent for you, then it's controlling the race. You're not. And you're not racing, you're basically fighting the AI. Here's what we know about AI difficulty and how it affects AI speed. And I'm going to try and put this in as layman terms for you. AI difficulty does not make the cars more powerful. When you adjust the slider, when you go from 99 to 101 or 103, 104, whatever, you're not making the car more powerful. You're not giving it more horsepower. You're not making the driver smarter. The way AI works is it adjusts how aggressively the AI is allowed to use the same physics that you are. Here's what you have to understand. In simple terms, the slider controls, the 101, 102, 105, here's what they do. The corner minimum speed targets, the higher the difficulty, lets AI carry more speed through the middle of the corner. Braking tolerance, higher difficulty allows AI to brake later and with less margin of error. Throttle confidence, AI applies throttle earlier and more decisively on corner exit. So here's what's happening. When you're increasing those AI difficulties, what you're doing is giving the AI permission to be more aggressive and to be more consistent than you are. Error forgiveness. At higher settings, the AI is allowed to operate closer to the edge, and by the edge, I mean that knife edge of you've gone too far. They're allowed to operate right at the peak of performance or closer to it, depending on where you have it set, without consequence, meaning without wrecking, without hitting the wall, without hitting each other. So the higher you set it, if you've got a range from 85 to 105. The higher you set that, the closer to the peak performance that you're allowing them to run. And that's it. Now, if your peak performance is here, why would you set the AI here? You want to have yourself set right about where the AI should be, okay, or have it set where you are. So, here's what it's not doing. When you move those sliders up and down, here's what it's not doing. It's not giving it more horsepower. It's not giving it better tires. It's not teaching the AI how to race better. And it's not reacting to you dynamically, meaning that the AI is not cornering differently or braking differently just because you are. It's doing what it's been taught to do. It's just either hedging a little bit on the restraints that it's been given, or it's more relaxed and going to take advantage of using the maximum ability, depending on where you put that slider, okay? All right, so the difficulty slider tightens or loosens the leash on how close the AI runs to the limits. That's what you need to know. That's it in a nutshell. The difficulty slider tightens or loosens the leash on how close the AI runs to its limit. At low difficulty, the AI leaves a lot of margin. More room there for you to take advantage. That's why when you're running at 96 or 98, you're probably going to be better than the AI. If you've had any experience at all using a wheel, turning laps, then you can probably beat 95, 96, 98 pretty easily because you're operating at a higher consistency rate than the AI. At a higher difficulty, the AI uses nearly all of the available grip all of the time, meaning it's not going to slip, slide, twist, spin out. smack the wall, and do a lot of the things that you're going to do, the harder you try.
Inside.
Now, when we talk about career mode and underdeveloped cars, here's why what we're talking about won't work in career mode. Here's why you have to set your baseline in quick race or in championship mode. Underdeveloped cars in career mode are not complete versions of the same car that you're driving in quick race. They are mechanically different, and their platforms are different. The way the setup is loaded is different. So, in layman's terms, what this means is that the car cannot control the weight transfer the same way as it does in a quick race car or a championship car. Underdeveloped suspension and chassis parts mean that the car moves more, it's slower, it's less predictable. You have extra body roll, delayed platform set, you've got mid-corner push because the tire never fully loads, you've got sudden snap when load finally shifts. Same setup, different reaction. So if you take your best setup from a quick race car or a championship car and you go into career mode and you're only at level 3 or level 4 in developing that car or whatever, less than the maximum, it's not going to react the same way because the physics are being treated differently in that car because of the underdeveloped aspects of the chassis or the suspension and that sort of thing. Tire load builds inconsistently. In a full-powered car, the tire loads smoothly. The tire load, and what we're talking about is the amount of load you put on the tire. It loads smoothly and predictably. But in a career car, that load comes late or unevenly, so it affects the way the car feels, especially in the turns and whatnot. One lap feels fine, next lap you're spinning on exit, or the car plows up mid-corner, into the wall. That's not driving it consistently. That's just the way the hardware is set up. It's a limitation of the hardware.
Clear high.
And the more you know about that, and the more familiar you are with it, then you understand why we're doing what we're doing, and also why your baseline's not going to work, or your baseline setups are not going to work in career mode. So what I do is I have all my baseline setups, all my best setups in that setup number 1 position, and then when I'm in career mode, I'll take that and I'll tweak it. I'll put it in the number 2 slot, tweak it, adjust it to the level of development that I am in that particular career. Because you're going to have to change some things. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to complete too many laps without spinning out. So, but I always keep my primary one in that number 1 slot. So that's just me. You do it any way you want. Anyhow, the throttle response is not going to match the grip. Setups become compensations. They're not tuning. You're not tuning around deficiencies or balance, and every change masks weaknesses instead of improving the behavior. So that's why there's differences. You need to understand that. What we're talking about, we're going to set up your full-powered cars for quick racing championship, and then from there you can play with whatever it takes to make career mode enjoyable. Okay.